Hi there. I'd like to show you a method that I have been using lately on getting a quick sketch using the computer from either a photo or a digital image. And these sketches that I print out on the printer are great because they're quick, they're accurate, you got a great value study, you can see your darks and your lights. A few years ago I was doing a class every week at a nursing home, and I needed to come up with some quick ideas. And it got kind of old after about 3 years, 2 to 3 years. I was running out of ideas, so I had to get things going quickly every week. So I'm going to show you a series of what I've sort of evolved with this method of getting some sketches together quickly, so I don't have to waste so much time sketching and I can get right to the painting. We're going to start. First example is with an older photograph that I had. Now I had to scan it because it wasn't a digital image, so I scanned it, I cropped it, and you're going to have an editing tool. I like to make it into a pencil sketch, but you could just print a black and white copy. But here's what I came up with. I wanted to keep the background in this one, so I did not erase any of the background. I went over it with pencil, the parts that I wanted to use, and then of course I transferred this to my tracing paper, and then the tracing paper to the watercolor paper, and then painted the painting. So I went from photo to a quick printout, and then penciled in what I wanted to use, and then used the tracing paper, and then transferred it, and this is the final painting. This is what I came up with. And on this one, I actually did make greeting cards out of this one. So here's a copy of the greeting card. Okay. Came out pretty well. So that was using an older photo to start with. The next example I want to show you is, this one was a digital image. It started out as a digital image. And I did not want all that dark background. That was a bloom that I had in a vase that came from a plant that was growing in the backyard, and that was a nun's orchid. So I also wanted to tweak the composition a little bit. That's another thing you can do. I wanted to emphasize this picture here, this flower here, and in the photo there's a petal that comes across the front of this one from another flower. So when I got what I wanted to use, I went in with a brush tool and I took out all the extra dark background because I'm cheap with the cartridges in the printer, so I like to get rid of everything that I know I'm not going to need. And then I penciled in this petal right over so that this one will end up coming in to the back of it, so you're able to tweak the composition the way you would like. So then I came up with the tracing, and then the tracing went onto the watercolor paper, and this is what I came up with. And of course I did a different background. So you can just use these for designs, and you can change the composition a little bit. See here, I had this petal going behind this flower, so this flower is completely visible. That's what I wanted. Both of these are 9 by 12 paintings. Let me go to one more 9 by 12. I don't have an original photo of this one, so I got a nice printout. But when I did the painting, this is kind of a wild look. I wanted to actually do something a little different. I just thought this was, I don't know, I didn't really like the brown background so much, so I just wanted to do another one. So that's what you can do. When you get a basic sketch, you can get your tracing, and then I decided to try another one with a different background. You can see those are two totally different looks on these paintings. I just wanted to do a light, airy background. So that was the last example on your 9 by 12 size. The next one is a larger size. We're going to go up to a 12 by 16 piece of paper, and I'm doing a series on orchids coming up, so I was working with some of my orchid photos. This one is actually an acquaintance of mine, her photo, and it was from a larger photo. This is a crop, and this is just a printout on a piece of paper. And it was full of orchids, so I narrowed in on a couple that I thought would be a nice composition. And you see it's pretty busy in the background. There's tree trunks and leaves and all kinds of other things in the background. So I eliminated all of that because I wanted to do a different background. This is another thing you can do that's an advantage. You can make notes on this and then maybe paste it on the wall or somewhere where you can see it while you're painting. And when you have a lot of confusion in certain areas, I like to make notes so that I can not get confused and paint the wrong area, the wrong color. It's easy to do. So my B's are the background color, the G's are the green color, and DKG is typically my dark greens, and LTGs are my light greens, and things like that. So you can make notes on this as you pencil in what you want to use. The thing about these, when you go to print them out, obviously your printer is only going to get about 8.5 by 11 a piece of paper. So this is a little more complicated. You have to go into your preview. First you take this and save the image on your desktop, and then you go in to preview and you need to resize it. You need to go from the largest dimension and change it to about a 14 or a 15 at least for your 12 by 16 paper. And then you need to save it on the desktop, and then you need to open it again in Safari, so you know I'm using a Mac. And when you open it in Safari, you go to print it, and you make sure it's in a black and white. Put it in either a landscape or a portrait, and up the size to 140%. So when you get a printout, it's going to come on 4 pieces of paper, and then you just piece them together. I'll show you on the back of this. We had 4 sections, and then you just have to kind of piece them together and then cut off the excess, and I tape it in the back, and you end up with a good sketch ready for a 12 by 16 piece of paper. So that one was then again made into my tracing, which then went on to the watercolor paper, and this is what I came up with as a painting. This is the original right here. And you see, I decided to do a different kind of a background. And also these, I don't really have the patience to do that fringe, so I kind of abstracted this a little bit, but I like the result, how it came out. I want to show you quickly 2 more of the larger size. The first one is a digital image, which I actually made a copy of on photograph paper, of a pelican sitting over on a dock in the St. Johns River. And it was a really fun painting to do. I did a smaller version in the beginning. I don't have either finished copies of these paintings. They were popular. And this is what I ended up with, the printout. Again, I had 4 pieces of paper that I needed to piece together, but it's perfectly accurate. I just really liked the expression on this pelican's face, and it came out great. And here is a digital copy of the painting that I did of the pelican. The last one I wanted to show you, I started with, this is an older photo as well, a very complicated, I thought, a complicated background on this palm, this coconut palm. What you can do, you can take a look, see what you want to eliminate, and this was pretty complex actually. This is actually the first one I did when I enlarged it like this, so this is a complicated sketch to start with, and I didn't do every frond on the sketch, but just gave myself some guidelines. And you can see I left enough, I took some things out so that I could make a background. And it just took a long time, but that one was also pieced together. I had, 4 pieces. I didn't mark the back of this one. And I also made notes on it. But that one was a very complicated painting. And that's the pencil sketch I came up with on tracing paper. And then the final product is this one. You see, now you can see that I did eliminate a lot of that busyness in the background because I wanted to put a nice background color on it. So now you have it. This is something that kind of evolved over time with me. I just decided I didn't want to use a lot of time in making my sketches, and this seemed to work pretty well, so this is what I've been doing lately. And I hope it can work for you. Maybe you can try it. Thanks. Good luck with it.